Welcome to America's Heroes Group.
Good afternoon and welcome to America's Heroes Group Roundtable with partner National Coalition Homeless Veterans. It's Saturday, January 15th, 2022. January is Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. I am host Cliff Kelley.
Hey, and I'm the co-host, Colonel Dr. Damon Arnold. Cliff, we are always in great attendance when you're here. We have the executive producer, Glenda Smith, our digital media producer, the great Ivan Ortega, Scouts Honor Productions. And today we have some incredible partners with us with the National Coalition of Homeless Veterans is one of our partners, NCHV. Kathryn Monet, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the National Coalition for Homeless Veterans, and also Ralph Cooper, who is the Community and Residential Veteran Services Coordinator, Cloudbreak Houston, LLC, and co-founder of the National Coalition for Homeless Veterans. They do a wonderful job every day of the year. And we have as a panelist James D. Rodriguez, a retired 21 years U.S. Marine veteran and U.S. Department of Labor's Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary for Policy for Veterans Employment and Training Services, VETS. And we'll talk about a little bit about his history as we're going through, and as he's giving his talk, he has an incredible background. Okay, so today's discussion is going to center on the mission, purpose, and
to cancel this message
agenda for U.S. Department of Labor Veterans Employment and Training Service. Very, very great to have all of you on. How are you doing? I always say that this is a great thing, Kathryn, when you're on, and also with Ralph. And again, welcome, James. Who wants to start off?
How about Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes, Mr. Rodriguez, you want to go right into it? Jump in.
Okay. To replay your message, press 1.
I am used
to delete and re-record your message, press 3.
Okay, be careful. We have to mute your phone if you're not speaking at this present time. But Mr. Rodriguez, do you want to go ahead and we will?
Okay.
Yes.
Sure. Thanks. Well, I can't tell you how excited I am to be here. So I really appreciate this important conversation because, as you all know, serving our veterans is the thing that we do best at Department of Labor Vets. We have a phenomenal team all across the entire country and overseas who do this with passion, with integrity, and 3/4 of our staff actually wore the uniform. And so they really look at this as their next mission. So I can't tell you how excited I am here to be with you all to represent our team and all of our valuable team members at Department of Labor Vets. I heard you all mention about mission. So what I want to cover is a little bit about what our mission is. And it is to prepare America's veterans, transitioning service members, and military spouses for meaningful careers, provide them with employment resources and expertise, protect their employment rights, and promote their employment opportunities. And we take this mission very, very extraordinarily to heart because of the fact, as I mentioned, we know how important our veterans are to the community. We know how important they are to our nation. And so we try to do our best every single day when we come to work.
You know, something that's just so great, Mr. Rodriguez, you also mentioned military spouses. Yeah, that's important.
Exactly right.
Yeah, that's it. I just think that's great. Tell us about that.
No, 100% agree. One of the things that we really talked about when I came in office last year was we needed to refocus on military spouses because we know how integral they are to the mission of our active duty service members. Not to mention, I am married to a military spouse. I've been married going on 30 years to my wife, who is also a Marine. And I understand personally the value of military spouses.
So has Colonel Arnold. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Congratulations. And so what I like to say, and I think people say this often, is that when the service member transition, if they are married, the military spouse transitions as well, and so do the family members. So we have to keep that in mind. When they are all transitioning, it is something new for everybody. And so we want to provide those resources when we can to help them all be successful in their next endeavor after military service.
Fantastic, yeah. Yeah, because, you know, I was thinking about that when you were saying that, Mr. Rodriguez, but a lot of the veterans who have disabilities or have been injured and wounded in combat, their spouses are actually taking on the role of taking care of the payments for the family, the mortgage, and those kinds of things. So a focus on spouses is really important as well. Even for non-military spouses.
No, that's exactly right. I couldn't agree more. And in my former role as Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense in 2014, 2017, I actually led one of the caregiver programs for military spouses. And so, again, I got to see the inherent value of everything you just mentioned, of those spouses who stood up and often left their jobs and became the primary caregiver for those injured ill service members. And so we know how valuable they are, again, to the success of the family when they transition out. So we want to also make sure we support them. One of the things we do at DOL Vets is we actually help them with their transition through a program called Transition Employment Assistance for Military Spouses, or TEAMS, what we like to call it. And that's specifically transition programs for the military spouses to help them also prepare for their next employment opportunity when they are also transitioning out with their service member.
Well, that's just what I was going to ask you, Mr. Rodriguez. This is very interesting, but that's a lot of work for them. They really have to know what they're doing, don't they?
Well, that is a lot of work,
Sure.
and you're exactly right. But we know that the spouses oftentimes are the ones that carry a lot of the load for the military members. I often say that it's easy to serve in uniform. It's hard to take care of the family and do all the other things outside of the traditional day-to-day duties on active duty. So the spouses do a lot of work, and we want to make sure that we can support them the best that we can. And this program, TEAMS, is really designed to help them look for that next career also. And it gives them a flexibility because the training that they can do is online and it's virtual because of the fact that we know everybody is busy. We know they have a lot of things that they are juggling at the same time. And so this program is designed to help them with their resumes, with networking, how to use LinkedIn, how to utilize resources that are available to them to find the next job wherever they are going, whatever location they're transitioning to, rather. Even look at licenses and certifications, how they could transfer those licenses and certifications to other states. So a lot of good resources that we put into supporting our military spouses.
Fantastic. We have some more time to go, but I want you to give the place that people can go to, website, phone number, something that people can connect to. And I'll ask it again down the road so people can grab their pens and pieces of paper.
Sure. If you go to dol.vets.gov, you can see all of our information there, and it really highlights all of the programs we have, specifically our Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program, but also our TEAMS program that I just covered.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. And, so the other thing you have is the grants that are available as well. So what is that about, and how does that work?
So, yeah, thank you for asking that. We actually are just launching our open application process for our grants. $14 million of grants are going to be distributed, and the application period is open up until March of this year. And that grant is really designed it's the only federal grant designed for supporting our veterans who are either homeless or at risk of becoming homeless to help them find employment. So DOL Vets, again, our focus is on employment. So we're the only federal agency focused on veteran employment, and that's our mission, to support our homeless and our at-risk homeless veterans. So this grant really goes out to any organization that is doing this great work across the country. And we encourage anybody that is doing this type of work to apply for these grants. If you go onto our website, grants.gov, you'll see that all of that information is out there. You'll also see some particulars in there that talks about how this grant can be utilized, what type of organizations can apply for those grants. But most importantly, you'll see some opportunities for training. And so if people are interested in how to apply for these grants, there's some information on there that really talks about training on the DOL website for Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program.
Well, you have two people here who are really great in that field of homeless veterans work. I'm not talking about myself and Cliff, Kathryn and Ralph are really embedded in this work for quite a long time, and have been doing outstanding work in the communities and what they're doing. But also, you were mentioning also training service. So what is the training service? You were saying that it's online, but what kinds of occupations, what types of things do you think people need? Because I know that in the employment field, a lot of times veterans have hard time translating their skills that they have in the military, even their leadership skills, which are absolutely, you look at it and you know it's there, into a civilian role. So how do people transition or, approach that?
Sure. Well, first of all, let me you mentioned Kathryn Monet, and I also want to echo how phenomenal she is when it comes to supporting our homeless veterans across the country. She is a great partner of DOL Vets, and the work that we do is really conducive to having great partners like that, because we know that it takes a village, first and foremost. And having Kathryn as part of our team, as our partner, is really critical to the work we do. So I wanted to say that. And then secondly, you talked about training. So one of the things we do at Vets is to transition assistance program for our active duty service members. They can take this training about a year before they transition out of the military, and it helps them prepare for their next mission, if you will. It does. There's 3 parts that are mandatory of it, 3 days rather, of a 5-day course. Department of Defense gives 1 day, Department of Veterans Affairs 1 day, and Department of Labor Vets the 3rd day. And then there's 2 additional days that they can utilize to help them build some new skills, and especially if they're looking to become entrepreneurs, things like that. There's some training that's involved in there. And so that's one iteration of training. So while they're in active duty. The second iteration is we just launched an off-base transition training program that's actually going to start on January 18th. And we're doing this pilot across 5 states with some specific areas where our veteran unemployment rate is high. And this off-base transition training program is designed to support our veterans who have been out of the military for a while, who are now looking for their next career. Maybe they're looking to join a employment area where they were not in the past, and they're looking for new skill sets. Well, we can help them. Taking a lot of the information that we have from our active duty service members, we're now going to provide that to our veterans, and that's in those specific pilot states or pilot areas that I mentioned, 5 states actually, and also our Guard and Reserve. They're going to be able to utilize this resources as well, and it's in brick and mortar as well as online training. So we want to help our veterans start preparing for, again, whatever career they are looking to join, if they lost their job due to the pandemic, or they're just looking for the next career opportunity. So those are 2 areas of training that we are focused on at DOL Vets.
That's fantastic. I'm really encouraged by this because I look at a lot of veterans, and I know, Kathryn and Ralph have always talked about this on shows that, it's the opportunities. A lot of veterans who are homeless don't want to be in that circumstance. Some are struggling with different issues, of course, but if there's a way of them to transition into a more active, meaningful life, this is a perfect opportunity for them. And, at the same, give the telephone number or the website again so that people can key into this.
Are you talking about specifically about the training that I
yes.
mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
So if you go into dolvets.gov, you'll get to see all of our programs in regards to training that we have. But if you go into grants.gov, then you'll see the Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program.
Okay.
Grants opportunity.
Fantastic. So is there anything that you think that people should know about how we can support this? I know this requires people to be behind the legislation. We, it's not in a very nonpartisan way. Supporting veterans programs is important to all of us. So it's really being aware of, veterans supporting the people who are homeless, who need to be off of the streets or being given some place to go, people who need jobs. So all of us have a responsibility, I think, to talk to people who are in our legislative districts, just to let them know how we feel, that it's important to take care of these people who are honorably served our country and they're heroes.
Well, I could have said it better. I think sorry about that. Go right ahead.
Well, I was just going to raise 2 things, right? And I think the first is, if you're an employer, right, find out who your HVRP grantees are in your community. And if you've got jobs available, see if you can offer an opportunity to a veteran who's exiting homelessness. And I think the other thing that I would flag is that the HVRP program is a really great program, right? Veterans who exit on average earn above $16 an hour, which is great, all things considered. But it's not the biggest federal program in the world, and it's a program that has been slowly, steadily growing. And so I think any listener who hears this should know that they should be out there asking Congress to increase the authorization levels and give more funding to this program so that we can get better outcomes for women.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, and and especially at this point in time, we had the pandemic that ravaged our country. We have all kinds of natural disasters. We have all kinds of things going on right now, and a little bit of civil unrest. And if anything can repair the fabric within this nation, it's the underlying veteran body that lives here and their families, and people who are concerned about the democratic principles we have in the country and rebuilding our nation as a group. And so, that adding that to our workforce, to any employer's workforce, is a move in a positive direction during any administration. Our veterans have proven to go beyond what an employer expects many times and to strengthen their corporate structure. So very, very well said. People need to be aware of that. But is anything you want, anything else you think we should be focusing on or thinking about, Mr. Rodriguez, as we're going forward? And I always want to say Semper Fi before I start, because obviously you have that blood in you that's really great.
I do. I know what my motto was today, and I said the same thing. Semper Fi has been my motto for the last 30-plus years, and I still try to live by that. So
Yes,
thank
sir.
you for acknowledging that. But as Kathryn said, I think there is a lot of work to be had. I mean, we're never going to be satisfied. In a best case scenario, we would love to work ourselves out of a job. Right? I think that would be our goal, but we know that's not going to happen. And so what we want to do is make sure we have the resources for our veterans, women veterans, service-disabled veterans, veterans with families, LGBTQ plus veterans. I mean, any veteran community had not been previously supported. We are looking to support them now. And so what we are doing is really putting a focus on equity and equity and inclusion, rather, to ensure that any underrepresented community feels like they are now being represented because of the fact that we are paying attention to them. We're getting resources to those communities. And we can do more, though. We know we can always do more with additional funding because of the fact that it's important for us to continue to put the funding to use, and we want to expand those funds. So what we do need is partners. We need good partners who are doing this great work across the country to go into grants, apply for these grants, and help us do the good work with supporting our veterans. And so any information that is needed, again, please look at our website. You can even look at our government website, and it will tell you how to apply for this grant. So we encourage everybody to get out there and do that. And if there's questions, by all means, ask of us.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm really proud of Mr. Rodriguez and the role of the Assistant Veteran Department of Labor. As a person who was one of the founding members of Homeless Veterans, the National Coalition for Homeless Veterans, I was one of the members, along with all other founders, that helped write the grant for grant per diem, as well as the HVRP program. Way back when Congressman Kennedy was a congressman out of Massachusetts, he put in for $400 million. We got $10 million. And look at what that $10 million has done. I mean, we have the Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program. We knew way back then that the real healing power of a job, in whether it's homeless or mental issues, post-traumatic stress disorder, getting a job, bringing home a paycheck will help put your place back with the family, will help you take on the role of leader again. And so I'm so glad that I'm still alive to see that this program has not died, and that it's going full swing and even improving. I love all of the things that you were saying that we really weren't thinking about back then. But I want to thank you so much for your service and for the continued service you do.
Yeah, because that's one, that's a really good point you're making, Ralph. And as you were speaking, I was just thinking about this is not just affecting a veteran or even a veteran spouse. This is, affecting the entire family unit. You have children that are being affected by this when their parents can have the money and, have a job that's actually supporting the entire family. You're pulling the entire family out of poverty. What kind of miracles are those? The veteran themselves, has a sense of pride in everything we do. When I say simplify, that means something, right? And when I say who it means something. Every branch of our military has a certain slogan, and it goes back to their heart. Why they put the uniform on, why they, shine their shoes, why they make sure that everything is done properly and in order with dedication to the mission. And to stand in front of your family and say, I can't complete a mission for you because I don't have a job is absolutely tragic. Coming back to the country that is so rich, that has so much to be thankful for, even though we have people complaining all the time about what I don't have and what I have, I only have a BMW, I don't have a Mercedes, or I don't have a Porsche, I only have a Mercedes. And we complain and complain and complain and don't know the sacrifices that these people have done, the men and women in the service. And to deny them the opportunity to show what they can do and what they can add to our nation is criminal. And so I am so glad that the three of you are here, because you have, halls of justice and marchers and all that, but people who are actually doing the work like the three of you are actually giving our veterans the things that they need to succeed, to have their families thrive, and for our nation to be better. When you have better people in a nation, you have a better nation. And so all of you are contributing to that. But I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to ask you, what is your dream? What's your vision? And what are your wishes for 2022? Since we're starting the year off, what do you hope to see in this year coming as far as the program and people accessing this wonderful, wonderful opportunity for them? So I'll start with Mr. Rodriguez. Yeah.
Sure. Well, that's a great question. And we have this motto for 2022 that I told the team that we were going to really look at integrating this to everything we do for this year, and it's be better than you were yesterday, right? Because we want to really look at how we could continue to move forward. Everything that you just mentioned is how can we continue to move forward and how can we be better than we were yesterday. So we want to make sure that our programs are meeting our right goals, are meeting our vision, ensuring that we're getting support to our veterans. And we know that on average, 200,000 active duty service members transition out of the military every year. Now, we want to make sure that we give them the right resources to prepare them for success post-military service. We also want to make sure that when they are into that veteran status and they are having challenges, that we have opportunities to support them. We have programs that support them, and that's what we do at VETS, specifically everything you mentioned about employment. We know our veterans want to work, and we want to ensure that they have the resources to do that. We partner very closely with the Department of Veterans Affairs, Small Business Administration, and other nonprofit partners, unions. We partner with everyone to have a collective effort to support our veterans, military spouses, and their families. And I know we can always do better, but our goal really is to do our best work and get the resources to where they're needed the most.
Oh, fantastic. And, the one thing is to shout out to all those businesses that are listening in, because we're nationally, present. I want you to think about this program. I want your people in your human resources section to know about what they're doing at the, what our secretary, deputy assistant secretary is doing for policy for veterans employment and training services. Be aware of that this exists, and also organizations like our National Coalition of Homeless Veterans, that people like Kathryn, Monet, and Ralph Cooper out there making sure that our veterans, this is a national resource. They're saying it's a buyer's market for people who want to become employed right now. Employers are looking for people to fill it. Fill it with some people with some kind of gumption, some people who have a spirit, who can actually come in with dedication, with strength, and with leadership skills. Make sure that you're looking at these programs and you are pushing it forward for these people. So we've run out of time, but I just want to thank you for taking your time, because I know how busy you are, James, for everything you're doing. Thank you for your service of 22 years in the Marines. Thank you for your wife being in the service as well.
Thank you.
In the Marines. And I want to thank Ralph and Kathryn for everything they do every day. Thank you for your service to our veterans. And again, make sure that you look at NCHV.org and then also grants.gov. Get on into the picture and understand what's going on and help our veterans. They deserve it. They deserve it. They deserve it. That's the final word. So thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
all.
wonderful day.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.